Hey guys, my name is Matsumiyo, and this weekend you may have noticed that Ubisoft introduced a new game mode into Rainbow Six Siege called the 6 Invitational. The way it worked was pretty simplistic. They took the rules and the gameplay of the pro scene, put it into a new mode for everyone to try out for the very first time, and at least for me, it was amazing. Now, a lot of people are speculating that this was Ubisoft's attempt at trying to test the waters, see and gauge the community's feedback if this is something that they would like to see in the future. And so that's what I wanted to do today. I want to talk about why I loved this mode so much and why I would either like to see this as a permanent new mode or adapt these rule sets to the current ranked rotation. And so first and foremost, probably the biggest change that came with this mode is the ability to pick and ban operators. At the start of a match, you and your teammates are able to select one offensive and one defensive character and eliminate them from the pool of selection. You don't want to go against Lion because he's downright overpowered in some situations. You don't have to go against him, just ban him outright. You think that Echo is too strong on this particular map, you can also eliminate him from the pool. This of course extends on over to the other team. They can take out 2 characters, and so 4 operators are no longer available. This has a lot of really cool gameplay ramifications. Probably the most obvious one is that you no longer have to go against those operators that are outright just annoying to go against. Not having to deal with Lion the entire weekend, because I basically played this mode exclusively the entire time, was incredible. Sometimes I didn't want to go against Blitz on a certain map because that would have just been a nuisance. Me and my team had the ability to not have to deal with that whatsoever. Giving this kind of tools to the player, I think, is really beneficial. Sometimes Ubisoft screws up. It happens. The introduction of Lion, Ella, Blackbeard, all of them were blatantly overpowered when they were first introduced. And so to have this ability to be like, okay, yeah, that's too strong, and just be able to outright take them out from the pool of selection is awesome in my opinion. If we were able to just outright ban Ella for the 6 months that she was overpowered, I think that would have gone a long way and eliminated a lot of the frustration that we had to deal with to go against that character. Another great aspect of this system is it allows players to actually change up the meta and strategies depending on what map that you're playing on. There are some maps that I will fully admit that are getting a bit stale. The meta is established, everyone has their certain strategy, and everyone abides by that, and so when you do get onto those maps, it just feels like you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. With this new system though, it actually gives the player the agency to mix things up, change the strategies, and change the way that you approach these maps. Mira, for example, is really powerful on some objectives, and everything revolves around her gadget. But if you had the ability to no longer go against Mira, now you're having to think about that objective completely differently. What operators are we going to bring in? What strategies and tactics are we going to employ? And at least for me, over this last weekend, that has probably been one of the most enjoyable aspects about this new mode. And so the real question is now, should Ubisoft add this as a new permanent game mode? Clearly, I love it. A lot of my friends were enjoying it. It seems like the reception online is that this was a huge success, and so should this be its own dedicated game mode? Well, one thing that we do have to consider is that if this is separate from our normal ranked and casual, that is going to extend queue times. If you have to choose now between 3 instead of 2, people are going to be separated amongst them, which means less people overall who are queuing for those specific modes. And so it is going to increase queue times. Now, I have no idea how long it's going to increase them by. Maybe Rainbow Six Siege has gotten and grown to the point where it's a non-issue. There are already so many people playing the game that you're going to be able to find rounds instantaneously. That is a distinct possibility. But I do know that especially at the higher tiers for ranked, it can already be pretty difficult to find a match, and so this could just kind of compound on that issue, especially for those specific players. One way that Ubisoft could work around this is to continue to have those 2 modes, but ranked would adopt the new competitive rule sets. Now, the downsides of this though is that the competitive mode had a lot less maps in its rotation. Now, for some people, this was amazing because these are the most competitive maps in Rainbow Six Siege. They're the most balanced, they have the less problems, they're the most competitive, and so for people that really want that kind of gameplay, this was incredible. For others though, that might be really disappointing. I know a lot of people out there that like to play ranked because of that more competitive play style, but they also enjoy to play on a wide variety of maps. And so to limit it down to 7, that's gonna be a lot less variety. Those people that are already getting burnt out on Siege because they don't think that there's enough maps in ranked to begin with, to drop it down to 7 is probably going to just exacerbate that problem. And so on the one hand, it does solve one of our issues. On the other, it kind of creates more for other players. Another thing I wasn't too keen on with the new competitive rule set is the removal of the kill cam. For me personally, I really like the cam because not only does it allow me to identify who might be cheating on the other team, are they tracking me through walls, are they randomly snapping at me, are they literally teleporting across the map and flying right in front of me, that's going to make it very obvious and then I can report them, but also it is a tool that I use to actually learn the game itself. One of the problems that Rainbow Six Siege has is that it's not a very new player friendly game. You have to go through a lot of trial and error to improve and just get better at Siege. And one of the tools that I always recommend that people take advantage of is that very camera. If you get taken out from someone, don't just automatically skip it and get frustrated. Watch what they did. How did they take you out? You could maybe use that to your advantage in the future. I have learned more about Rainbow Six Siege based off of what the other team does than what I could even figure out stumbling around and trying out different strategies. Like, I really do think it's that valuable of a tool. And so to remove it, I think would not only be bad for newer players, and I know some people would argue, hey, they shouldn't even be in this competitive mode, new people should be joining casual, and I do agree, but for someone like me who's put like 2,000 hours into the game, I'm still learning every single day, especially on new maps, and to no longer have that resource available, that tool at my disposal, would be a pretty big disappointment. This, of course, is just my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me because they did enjoy that the cam was removed, but that was really the only thing that I disliked about this new mode. All in all, though, I'm really hoping that this was Ubisoft's attempt at testing the waters, and this is something that they're going to eventually add into Rainbow Six Siege, either as a brand new mode or just adopt it into the ranked rule sets. Even if they wanted to do something slightly differently, have the pick ban system but the same map rotation that we have in ranked, I would still be on board with that. Solves a couple of the problems. It may not be perfect, but I do think that would be an amazing direction for the game. Yeah guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about this new game mode. Did you like it? Were you disappointed? How do you think Ubisoft could improve upon it or implement it properly? Give me your guys' thoughts down below. Yeah guys, until next time, have a good one and take it easy.